Good morning and welcome to today's video on GNS3 installation. So we know that you're supposed to go to gns3.com, as in you'll need to create an account the GNS3 website, in the GNS3 website, for you to be able to download. So they have three main versions for Mac users, Linux, but as here we're going to do it on Windows, and there is an installation guide. So also, as a side note, you know that I'm making this video just so that we are on the same page, and just give you a basic GUI sort of a basic understanding of how to install and run it in GUI version, because you can see they are recommending here that for optimal performance you need to download the VM for GNS3. So as we're just doing it in the GUI, of course, if you want to be more tech savvy with GNS3, there's a lot of documentation on the site. I mean, you can learn way more than what I'm showing you guys here. And I have clicked on the requirements that you need to this is what I was trying to say, that for those of you with the 32-bit OSs, you can search on the, I think it's on the community. If you dig around the website, you'll be able to find the 32-bit, because I think the latest version of 32-bit was 1.39 or something. As here we are downloading version 2.111. Yeah, so I'll just hit download, and I'm sure maybe some of you by now have seen there's a lot of tutorials that will even better explain how to run it all over the internet. But like I've said, I just want us to be able to install it and run it without getting too deep into it. I think I'm repeating myself too much. All right, so we wait for it to download, then we can go through the installation and see the various settings that we do. So also you also need, as much as GNS3 is free, you'll need iOSs, the real operating systems that run on your on the router, because GNS3 is like VMware. VMware lets you boot the real deal OS in a virtual, in a virtual. I don't think there is any of us who have never seen VMware, but it'd be like this. This is where I can come. I have like some call manager. These are things to do with Cisco collaboration track, the voice track. But I can just power on Windows 7. So you can see on my machine here, I'm on Windows 8. If I come to my PC, properties, you can see that I'm on Windows 8. Yet here I'm booting Windows 7 in a virtual environment. So GNS3 is the same thing. It allows us to boot the real deal OS of of a Cisco router. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here, because we know about these things. You can even hear it. Boot with that Windows 7, whatever. So anyway, let me come back. I think it finished downloading. So we just open, and before I forget, you need to have turned off your firewall, and if you have an antivirus, like the way I have AVG, you need to turn off those, because Those will be the first culprit to give you issues with GNS3. Mine is not showing here, so let me search firewall Windows. I don't know whether Windows Defender have issues. You can see in my case here the firewalls are turned off, because you can see they are in red here. If I come to turn on or off, you can see mine here are off. Same thing with the AVG. So you hit next. I mean, installing is just the good old wizards that we're used to installing softwares. Here you can choose optional stuff that you might not want to install on your machine, but you can just take the defaults. So it will just take us through installing, and I'm sure you have been able to install this. So what I want to show you is just how to load the iOSs, and from there now we can be able to simulate the networks, because after we install this, I actually want us to come to this packet tracer that to the lab that we did, the last lab that we did on packet tracer. We see how we can use it is requiring me to log into my account. Anyway, we will see how we implement that same whatever in GNS3. No, I don't want a license, and that was fast installing that GNS3. So if you have here, you can see this thing that is flashing there, trying to connect this one. You see it's trying to connect 127.0. I can't even, 0.0.0.1, I think, colon 3080. So you see some network connection. We talked about 127.0.0 subnet, which we said is for testing the OSI model, or what you call loopback testing on your machine. So I was saying that because if you have your firewall and what antivirus, you'll have issues. We can cancel out of this wizard. You can follow it if you want to do more complex stuff on GNS3, as we just want to run it in a bare bone version. I always like to close these panes to have more real estate to work with. You can even move it's just like the way we have with your Microsoft Word and all that. You can rearrange the bars the way you want. So what I want to show you here is if I come to the routers, these are the routers, the ones with this whatever. The switches are here. We don't even have the switches. Install the appliances. So I just want to show you how to, I think the switches will come if you say you create a new project, and so like that we did of static routing on packet tracer, do something like that. Let's see. Yeah, so now the switches are available if you create a brand new. So but the routers, you can see they are all faded, and like I've said, and I'm sure we know this by now, GNS3 is more of a routing is more of a routing software, because it lets you virtualize Cisco routers. So to load your iOSs, you come to Edit, Preferences. Under General, you need to note these paths where you have, because here is where you can change to where maybe your configs will be. So the thing that I like to note here is this here of images. You can even click browse, go to the iOS, my folder is empty. So here is when I was saying that you'll need to have the operating systems that you'll have copied from the routers, and I think I saw you guys there in Bara with some 2 iOSs. So anyway, under general, another important thing under general that you need to, not general, like, is Dynamics. Dynamics is the hypervisor that allows GNS3 to run. So it is critical that but anyway, we can just leave it at that. So we need to go to iOS routers, come here, create new. You can see that I have an existing image. So if you didn't have, you just say new, browse, and now you browse where, and I think I saw you guys with this 2691 and that of 7200. So this 2691 is enough to do all the labs you want in CCNA and even CCNP. In fact, I love this image. It's good. So now let me first delete this dot image because I want to show you something that, so you see, when you choose the .bin, it will ask you, would you like to decompress the iOS image? We say yes, because yeah, we want it to be in the .image format, and the reason for that is you know, on a real router it is .bin, yeah. .bin is like a zipped file, you know that, because our routers, the storage of on our routers is not that big. We'll need to, that's why it is stored in zipped file. So when the router is booting up, and I'm sure we have seen this, like we have seen even on Packet Tracer, where you have those hashes or pound symbols flying across the screen, the router at that point is actually copying and unzipping that file into RAM. It's copying it into RAM and unzipping it at the same time. So but you know that process sometimes is a bit slow, like especially the routers that I had there, the 2600s. I don't know whether you realize they were booting a bit slow. So we want to keep it in an unzipped format so that, you know, in GNS3 we have space, so it can just boot fairly faster. So the name and the platform is a 2691. When you're loading some iOSs, you might want to come here and choose, and these are the various platforms I think that are supported in GNS3. So I was saying that I think I saw you guys with this C7200. So with just these 2 images, I mean, there is no lab that you cannot do, I think, pretty much all the way to CCIE. For the minimum requirements, you can go to the Cisco's website here and check. But anyway, just to play it safe, we can clank it up to 56, up to 256. The slots, these are things that you can play around with, like this NM16 ESW. This is where you this is an ether switch module, yeah, where you put we saw that the routers are modular, meaning they have slots where you can put because you see, like for a small office, they might have a router that is at the same time the switch, so you can put that switch module. And as we're mostly interested with this WIC 2T, so that you can be able to simulate those serial 1 connections. And now the idle PC, this is very important. You need to set it, because otherwise and this is what I was saying, if your antivirus is if you're having issues, you'll not be able to see something like this. But I was saying that the idle PC, you really need to set it, because the CPU utilization, if you don't set it, if you come to the task manager, you can see my CPU usage is 49 when it is doing the process of calculating the idle PC. So if you don't do this, whenever you boot up your routers in GNS3, your CPU will be pegged at some 100% or something. Takes some time. It takes some time to have found a suitable idle PC, and this you do it once per iOS. So for this iOS, you'll not have to do it again. Excuse for a minute. You can see my CPU utilization is it have gone down. That's what we want. Hit finish, so I can hit OK. So now when I come to my routers, I have the 2691 is I can be able to use it. So you just click and drag it into the working space, and if you are to do that packet tracer lab that we did last time, which I think I'll demonstrate. I will go through it in the next video. So you can put the switches as per the lab that we had. So GNS3 also doesn't emulate switches very well. I think this was our switch 1. So to rename it, I'm just double clicking on the name, or you can right click and you go change host name. But I just double click on the name to have SW2, SW3. Okay. Yeah, I was saying that GNS3 doesn't emulate switches and hosts very well. So for the hosts, we can use this VPCs. This VPC software is or tool is a what? Is a simulation of PCs where we have because in networking we just use the command prompt. Yeah, the command prompt, to test connectivity. It's not like so in fact, let me boot these PCs. You see what I'm trying to explain, and I think it's booted up. So to see, you can actually go to view docs, and you have the topology summary. Yeah, so I can see that, and you can actually see the this is interesting. You can actually see the this latest version of GNS3 I've actually not played around with. It's even giving us the port numbers. This is quite interesting. So I'm even curious to try and telnet to this. Try and telnet to these IP addresses, like for PC2, and I'm now digressing to feed my curiosity. 127.0.0.1 colon 5008. Actually on the CMD you don't need to put the colon, you just put space. Wow, I'm actually on PC2. Deleting from the command prompt. But anyway, so to see that, you just right click. I was just seeing the topology summary here to see whether my PC2 is up. That way I can just console to it, and let me maximize. So here you can just hit enter, and I'm on PC2. So to assign it an IP, you just say IP In our case, we had 192.168.1. That was the .32 subnet. So 32, the last subnet, the last IP address here, I think would be 62.255. Not 255. On this virtual PC, you can just do 192.168.1. Was it 33/27? You hit enter. Yeah, you can see that we have assigned this IP address and a default gateway of that. So to even check, you can type show. Now this was, I'm showing you commands to do with the virtual PC. But anyway, our main goal here is just the routers, yeah, for us to have that topology that we had in class, but now in GNS3. So to connect your devices, you just click on that connection tool. So by just right clicking, you can connect your cables. The normal right clicking, it's not left clicking. So then you can have I think here we had serial 00, serial 00, serial 01, serial first Ethernet 00. Just connect your devices. Now you can just boot all the devices, yeah, with this button, but you need to be careful. And I don't know whether they they have put that feature in this later version of iOS where it lets the routers to boot one by one, because if you boot all of them simultaneously, and that's why I have launched this whatever task manager to see how my CPU will behave. You can see that it's going up. I've even hit 100, but I can see that they have actually implemented because my routers are booting one by one. When they boot all of them at the same time, your CPU might so it have gone back to that. So I can now console to my devices. And I like this super putty that they have included in these later versions, because it allows you to have tabs up there. The tabs are awesome because you see, for me to go to R1, I just hit enter and I'm on router 1. Go to router 2, just hit enter. You know, with the tabs you can easily navigate and all that. So is it router 2, router 3? Again, you can see they are all coming in that tab. Those new tabs for the PCs, you also console. They are also coming up in those. My PCA is misbehaving. Let me see whether you look at the docs, topology summary. They are all booted. I don't know what's the deal. Yeah, PC2 is good. Console, PC3. So maybe we need to reboot this or something. Let's see, start. console. Now he's good. Using some free BSD. I can see something up here. Using free BSD version. What did I see? Free BSD somewhere. BSD license, and so this is where the Linux guys are. I think can do something on this thing. From here now we can just simulate, just like as in we can just now carry on with the configurations the way we have been doing. Like I think in the lab we had F00 had an IP add of 192.168.0 .1 dot 1 255.255 dot 255 dot 224 because it was a /27, and I do no shutdown, and yeah, you can see that it is coming up. And now if you go to PC1 and assign it an IP address, say IP 192.168.1. I think the last IP here was .30. Then we have the default gateway is 192.168.1.1 and it's a /27. We hit enter, checking for duplicate address. So we can see that our PC1 it has so again on this simulator, instead of IP config we just say show, and you can see which IP address is assigned to this and the MAC address assigned to our virtual PC here. We can ping 192.168.1.1, which is the default gateway. The first ping usually is lost because we are doing ARPing. In fact, if I had typed show ARP before I did this ping, we would have seen that you know, the ARP table is not populated. So we can see that before my PC sent these packets, encapsulating them through the rules of the OSI model, it had to first ARP, and it have resolved all that. So again, this is just this is another tool that we can use to practice the labs at our disposal. So I like GNS3 because you can do packet captures and start capture. I don't even know what's that. Okay, there's something that is coming there. Yeah, so not much activity going on there. Maybe if you ping again to generate some traffic, not show ARP. Ping, remind me later, and we can see some ping. We are capturing some ping packets, and we can see the layers of the OSI model here. So that's the beauty of GNS3, because we can even connect it to the LAN. Yeah, so maybe this is where we can virtualize this network in, say, one laptop. You can connect to your colleague where they connect to the LAN. I mean, with this, or even connect with real devices if you have just one router and or a switch, and from there you can so anyway, looking at the time, I think we'll stop there, so that now in the next video, this is where we will continue with this topology. the one that we had in Packet Tracer, and all that. So with that, I hope this has been informative to you. I'd like to thank you for viewing.